Hey, hopefully that came at you. And I'm talking like rock and roll, crazy loud, coming at you live. So, hey, welcome back. It's been a few months since I've seen a lot of you. This is a new, different thing that we're going to be doing. We've kind of taken away the round table, and we're doing a little bit something different where we're just going to be kind of shooting off the cuff this season, just kind of picking random nights and doing some random different things, whether it's Seahawks football, it could be NFL, it could be all sports, it could be all sorts of things. So tonight, first run at it, taking a crack at things. We see a couple returning people that are here with us. But instead of giving a big preview, I'm going to just bring guys on because I think part of it for them is kind of like an off season, getting through a little bit of this preseason run with a couple of these simpler shows. And then once the season gets going, we'll be able to really get rocking and rolling. So with that, I'm going to one by one bring in the crew, starting with Sky High Aviation. Sky High, how are you, man?
I am good, Coach Marsh. It's good to see all of you back. As many of you know, I know you all have missed me, especially Tyler Parcher. It is good to be here. I'm excited to talk some more football. Season's beginning. Pumped. Can't wait to go. Maybe going to the first game in Indianapolis against the Colts. Not Indianapolis, actually. About 3 hours away from here. Maybe may do a little bit of NorbCam style thing myself. Who knows? We'll see. But, I've been uploading gradually.
I guess right there. Like we're like maybe 2 minutes into the show, already a plug for NorbCam. In fact, I'm gonna have a little tally of how many times Norb's name comes up on the show, which is awesome. Free publicity for Norb. So, but don't overdo it. All right, finish up, and I'll get the next guys on.
Well, I am working on uploading some videos soon. I actually just uploaded a couple videos that seem to have been actually fairly successful of a recent trip that I did this summer. Some nice ambient sound. It's an hour and 5 minutes, Coach Marsh. So I know you like just listening to that stuff.
I do.
It's a lot of great stuff.
Just play your stuff and play it right when I'm going to sleep. And 3 hours later, I wake up and I'm still on the same flight. All right, man. Sky, I'm glad to have you back. I'll continue with you. We'll come back in a minute. Next, Chef Jack Attack coming out of the great state of New York. Hey, man, I tell you what, if somebody is consistent with social media and fun stuff during the 3-month off season for our franchise here, it's Chef Jack Attack. Chef Jack Attack, welcome back.
What's up, Coach?
Hey, man. You know what? I just love hearing your voice. As soon as I hear your voice, I remember the first time I heard it watching NorbCam. Watch a little tab for NorbCam here.
There you go.
First time I heard it, man, I thought it was like a 25, 30-year-old dude. And then I kept hearing the voice. I'm like, man, I gotta meet this guy. And then I saw it and the great energy. So, man, it's just great to have you back. So what's been going on, man?
Well, summer, we took a couple trips, couple vacations.
Are you doing some sort of promotion for ginger ale?
No. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. I've been drinking my dad's seltzer. Yeah. Summer, YouTube channel, Chef Jack Attack. Okay, Mom. Okay, my mom's saying what I should say and stuff. Mom, stop, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I say about moms, man. Moms are great.
She's watching this like a hawk, making sure I look good and stuff. Yeah. But they're laughing now. On my YouTube channel, though, Chef Jack Attack, been posting short videos. I haven't done a long video in a while. We'll do that soon. Hopefully, get a couple of them out sooner than later. I'm happy to be here. It's been a while. I think last time I was on was 3 months ago. That's a long time.
It's been 3 months, so we'll definitely get into that. So, hey, man, great to have you back. I know you're doing stuff on Instagram now and some other things, so we'll close that up at the end. You can finalize us with that, but I know it's just been a fun summer for you. It's been fun to follow you. So,
perfect.
Next, Rain, the Rain Man. Welcome back. Now, Rain, before we even get going, man, I know you've been going through some serious stuff with based out of the East Coast where you're at and all the tornadoes and the hurricanes. And I got to share with people as they maybe come back and watch this video, you're the first person that came on this show. You're the first person that really got me going. But the other day when we were having our conversation in our kind of production meeting, all of a sudden the sirens start going off and everything else. So, man, so how are you just doing, man?
Speaking on the weather, it's kind of calmed down. It's dark. I can't really see outside, but it looks pretty calm. But
that's it's almost 9 o'clock out there, 8:30, 9 o'clock. But
yes, it's 8:30 right now. So I'm glad to be back. I've taken a little break through 3 months, also known as the off season. But I'm glad to be back with the guys. So,
Rain, do you know who Adam Schefter is?
Yeah,
on ESPN. You kind of remind me of Adam Schefter because every time we do our conversations or our production meetings, it's like up phone ringing, up phone dinging. Like you're getting updates from the NFL, the NBA. Like you got to kind of check it, make sure things are on the up and up, breaking news type of stuff. Anyway, awesome to have you back. All right, next we're going to Tennessee. Like, think about this. There's people, and I can't wait to do this like in about a month after we've all kind of got our preseason jitters out and everything else. We're really polished. We'll go back around and like I just love the fact that we got, you know, Ohio, New York, got, you know, Virginia, and now we got Tennessee. Tennessee. There's a famous song that I used to love back in college. Tennessee.
The East.
Tennessee.
Yep,
PJ, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back. Been a long
Hey, what I love is that
time.
your version of excitement and Chef Jack Attack's version of excitement are both excitement, but they come across on different streams, like different wavelengths. Chef Jack Attack is like 3D excitement, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm so amped to be on this show and just like I'm gonna crush people with my knowledge. But it's still, I mean, I love it, man. So how are things going?
Everything's going good. It's been raining all day today, so I've had somewhat of a bad day.
Getting the weather update? No problem, man.
Yeah.
Well, glad to have you back. And then finally,
Coach
definitely not last for any reason other than that's just the order you came in at. But you're first to everything, man. And that's because you were helping me on the side doing some other stuff. So Nick LeBeau, Nick out of the great state of Washington, right here with me.
Yep.
Nick, I know there's some exciting news for you, and this might be happening with everybody else, but man, high school, high school's upon you now.
Yeah.
So that's big time stuff.
Yeah,
I know Rain's in college and the other dudes are kind of high school, college stuff like that. But other than the high school thing, which I know is just getting going, what else has been going on for you, man?
I was just enjoying summer. Went by quick. School's starting out. Today was the first day. It went great. Just taking a break, great off season. A few months since we've done this, so I'm excited to get back into the action. And yeah, you should see videos coming soon. We got the Colts game coming up. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, man. No doubt about it. Like coming up real quick. That's why I like that we have 2 weeks to go. Like I actually really like this preseason. Like, so we can actually get into it a little bit. And just for people that are watching, and I know right now tonight it's like your parents and my wife and others, which by the way, today is her birthday. So even though I'm happy to do the show with you guys, I won't be able to do like a 3-hour extended remix. We won't be doing any of those shows anymore. But it is her birthday, so I'm gonna have to go celebrate that here pretty soon. But a little different flow here. The preseason's different, which I like, man. I love that it's shortened. I don't care that guys aren't playing or aren't, preseason. I've shared with a few guys that Walter Jones, Hall of Famer, 3 seasons in a row, didn't practice once in the preseason. He held out, everything else. And oh, by the way, he made it to the Hall of Fame. So not that big a deal. And then we get this nice 2-week break. So it gives us a chance to kind of work out the jitters, have your parents watch you and say, hey, man, comb your hair better next time, or fix your lighting, or tell Coach Marsh that to find another person to host the show, or whatever it is, right? But our focus this year, this is more for the audience, people that watch us, is, again, not so much just Seahawks. Like, I really challenge these guys to let's go beyond the Seahawks, beyond the NFC. As you saw maybe the title earlier, we're going to be talking about the AFC, but also we're going to be talking sports in general on kind of a global level. So I really look forward to it with these guys because I think we agree that, Norb and stuff, he's the Seahawks guy, he's the 12 main guy, and we're obviously all Seahawks fans. But I look forward to talking about some other things because there's a lot of people that are kind of taking that piece of the pie that is the Seahawks. So we'll definitely do that, but we'll come to some other things. So glad to have you guys here. There's a couple other dudes that couldn't make it. But again, the round table, we've retired that. It was a great kind of one season deal, but then the franchise got sold, and now we're selling doing the franchise the way I really want to do it, with some fun marketing stuff, some Priya Storehawk stuff, which is why I've got the 1976 Kingdom shirt on.
Nice.
So there'll be some fun stuff because I'm going to help educate you guys on what 1976 through 2000 was. Like, there was football in Washington during that time, and you guys can educate me on how to use Instagram and Snapchat and make duck flips and do all those crazy things to communicate with people. All right. So with that, I want to convert the conversation right away. I want to get it out of the Seahawks realm and even out of the NFC realm. We'll talk about Seahawks next week because they're making cuts and making trades. So I'm going to let everybody else kind of jump on the 12's Seahawks thing this week and get it out of their system. I want to go to the AFC because I think we're going to just assume on this show that the Seahawks are going all the way. So when I do illustration breakdowns, when I do everything else, it's always going to be based on that. But I did have you guys, earlier in the last 24 hours, commit to a couple teams that would be contenders and there would be dark horses, but I said you couldn't use Kansas City or Buffalo. So that said, I want to start off with Kansas City and Buffalo. I want to start off with why are those two teams so much either better or the chalk, as they say, like chalk talk for life, the chalk meaning easy favorite. Everybody thinks Kansas City is just going to go again, but they definitely showed some chinks in the armor, right? They can be beat. Buffalo, they got some great receiver, great quarterback, defense, everything else. So who would like to jump in first before I start pointing out dudes and everything else? All right, Chef Jack Attack. You can pick either team, Kansas City or Buffalo. We're just going to focus on them. And you guys didn't know I was doing this part. You guys thought we were going to just go with those other two teams. But let's focus on the two teams that I think everybody would agree, like, they're the ones to catch. Chef Jack Attack.
I'll go Buffalo right now because that's my mom's favorite team. The kicker on this team last name is my mom's last name.
That's reason enough right there. Like, that's when people go and they, not that you guys should do any betting. But sometimes people go bet on horses and stuff like that. And they're like, I'm going to pick it for the name. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. And it's a New York team. You got to root for New York. Buffalo Bills are a very good team because they have a great young quarterback. They have a very great wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. Very great. I mean, let's just be real. He's like one of the best out there. Josh Allen, he can throw and he can run fairly well.
So I'm gonna hold on that. So just stay on those three. If you're gonna pick like one of those three, like the Josh Allen or the receiver or anybody, like what would be the one thing, or maybe it's the kicker it was the kicker you said who had the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one of those 3 or 4 things that you'd say that will be the thing that gets them over the top.
The quarterback would get them over the top. I would say that you need a pretty good quarterback to get to the Super Bowl.
Right, so you think Josh Allen's going to take it to the level that he finally needs to? Okay, great.
Yes.
Sky High, I saw your hand also go up.
Oh, okay. I think that again,
thanks for staying with us, Sky. Thanks for staying with the program.
Yeah. Of course. I think that the team to beat again remains Kansas City. They're the AFC Championship. They're the defending AFC champions. They have the best roster. The only weakness that we see right now in Kansas City is the new O-line. How well will they gel together? How well will they protect Mahomes? Yet again, does he really need that great of an O-line? He is all over the place. There is almost no stopping him with his receiving core, with Kelsey, with Hill, with their running back, with Edwards-Helaire. Their defense also.
All right, right there. Stop right there. If you're going to pick, just on what you said, because it'd be easy for all you guys to just jump all over and just be like listing 35 things. What is the one thing of just those things you said? So don't go bringing something else up. You got to leave space for these other guys. What is one thing of those things that you just said that you think is why they will just return again for the 3rd time?
Patrick Mahomes.
Well, okay. Unpack that a little bit more because I think that's too easy.
Okay.
I'm going to really challenge you guys this season so the franchise can go further. Very easy for 150 million people to go Patrick Mahomes. Well, but why? Why? Like, what does he need to do? Because last year, man, he's good in the Super Bowl.
He's the all-around quarterback. Patrick Mahomes consistently gets better at everything he does, week in and a week out. He's the hardest worker on that team. He's almost like excellent.
You think he's the hardest worker? Yes. And we're bouncing in a second, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this.
But
because you've spent time with the other dudes on the team?
No, he's the hardest worker day in and day out, and it shows. He puts up the stats to show for it. He not carries the Kansas City Chiefs, but he is the leader of their team, and he's the one guy you think of right now when you say NFL, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, man, I like it. Okay, I like it right there. And you guys know, man, this is all about me. I'm going to be challenging you guys, pull out the best in you. That's my job as the coach. So this is going to be the fun part this year, is me really pushing you guys to a different level to not just go with the basic stuff. So good stuff right there. Nick LeBeau, man, I know you're going to say you got something you got to add to this thing, man, on Kansas City or Buffalo. Just give me a couple things. Okay, Buffalo. And what do you like about them? Like Chef Jack Attack likes Buffalo, and it's because of the quarterback. So I'm not going to let you go quarterback, Nick LeBeau.
Yep.
So other than Josh Allen, what's another reason that you think that this is their year?
I like their defense, specifically secondary. I mean, they got 2 great underrated safeties in Micah Hyde and, oh my gosh, I'm spacing on the other one. But they do have 2 great young safeties. They have 3 good corners. Trey White is the number 1 corner there. Young, super underrated, one of the at least a top 5 cornerback in the league. And I think their secondary is really going to hold against these superstar receivers they'll see not only in the regular season but in the playoffs. I think they're bound to be going up against Kansas City. So Tyreek Hill, and then a bunch of other great teams with other great wide receivers. So yeah, they're secondary.
Hey man, I like it. BJ or Rain, you want anything else you want to add on those two before we go to the dark horse and contender? Okay, BJ, man.
I do.
You bet. Yeah, go for it.
So, I'm talking about the Bills. Chef, he says that the best thing on the team and the most important is the quarterback. I disagree. I think we already know that Josh Allen can, play, but I think it really depends on the run game because last year you knew what the Bills were going to do. They were going to pass the ball, and sure, they had some games where they were a run-heavy offense, but that was just 1 or 2 games in the regular season in which they didn't really matter. So they need the running game not only for the regular season to help out Josh Allen and not overwork him, but in the playoffs because all the teams are exceptionally good, so
Yeah.
you can't just pass it anymore. You have to diversify your game, and the one way they can do is to run the ball.
The word, man. Diversify the game.
Quarterbacks are more important than running backs.
I like it.
I mean,
go ahead, BJ. Let BJ finish here.
Well, if you say quarterback is the most important, it is. But how can you have?
Well, and we've already covered quarterback, so this isn't so much a debate.
I know.
Chef Jack Attack. So Chef Jack Attack, you're saying quarterback, okay, great. And now we've added a defense, and now BJ's saying another part. So this is more like looking at the pieces before we jump into the real conversation. So I'm just getting kind of a surface level thing here. So BJ's not like, I don't think he's counteracting what you're saying. I think he's picked up that I'm trying to get you guys to not say the same stuff. So good job, BJ. All right, Rain, if you don't have anything to add, because they covered a lot of stuff, I'm totally cool with that. Other than I would want to know Buffalo or Kansas City because it's 3-1. No, 2-1. 2 people said Kansas City, 1 person. Oh, 3. 3 have said Buffalo. 1 person said Kansas City. Rain, what do you think?
I'll make it 2-3. I think the Kansas City Kansas City Chiefs are going to run it back. Like I said, people have already covered pretty much everything, but Patrick Mahomes, there's no stopping him till he gets old. He's one of those type of quarterbacks. But I think they're going to go back. So it's something quick.
All right. Well, now that we've covered that part, let's talk about the other contenders and why you guys think that they could dethrone either one of those 2 teams. And I kind of hope they do. I kind of hope they don't. Like, I don't think people are tired of Kansas City yet. And anybody want to debate that? Do you guys think anybody's tired of Kansas City and Buffalo yet? There comes a point where it's like, we don't want to see the same teams over and over. Or before we go on to the other contenders, is anybody? Go ahead. Somebody.
I think there's going to be somebody different. There's a lot of hot teams in the AFC now.
No, I know that, but what I'm asking is the public tired of seeing Kansas City yet, or are we still on this Mahomes train? Like, hey, he's just fun to watch, and if he makes it to another Super Bowl, because like with Brady, right? Brady won the first one. Is this kid, 199th draft pick or 180th draft pick, and then after he starts winning and he's there a lot, it's like, all right, enough of Brady already. And then you get to these other people, Aaron Rodgers, enough Aaron Rodgers already. Chef Jack Attack, don't say anything. And then you get to these other people, right? Are people going to be tired if Kansas City makes it to a 3rd AFC Championship game? Is everybody okay with them? Okay. Is everybody okay with Buffalo and Kansas City playing again for the AFC Championship game?
No.
Let me just see you raise your hand if you'd be really excited again if it's Kansas City and Buffalo. If you'd be like, cool with it. Okay, Rain, cool. Yeah, and I'd be cool with it too. I actually think it'd be entertaining. I'd be totally into it. Which tells me that you guys would like to see one of these other contenders that you guys are choosing go in. All right. So now, based on what I have here, a list, and then we'll talk about it. The contenders that you guys talked about, and Nick LeBeau, help me make sure I got this right, are the Ravens, the Colts, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Titans. Those are the contending teams that we have out there.
Oh,
So with
I'm
that,
excited to
oh,
see
BJ,
what
BJ,
that
did you have Bengals or Steelers as your contenders?
Steelers.
All right, you have
Oh,
Steelers.
okay.
Okay, got it. So I'm going to start with you, Nick. You have the Ravens.
I
Tell
do.
us why the Ravens are your contender outside of Kansas City and Buffalo. And for people watching, I told these guys, no Kansas City, no Buffalo. Come into the show with a contender and a dark horse. So Nick LeBeau's contender is the Ravens, and eventually we'll talk about his dark horse, the Raiders.
Yes. The
right,
offense
Nick.
is just super high powered in that Kansas City, or I'm sorry, Baltimore offense. Lamar Jackson has a great ability to improvise on plays. He's a running back basically at the position of quarterback, but don't think he can't huck the ball downfield. He's got good young receivers. They drafted Rashad Bateman early this year. I think he's going to be a good receiver in the league. Marquise Hollywood Brown, who they drafted early a couple years back, I think maybe in the same draft as Lamar, maybe a year after. He's a speedster. He can find his way deep, and I think he has the potential to break out this year. They're getting their all-pro left tackle, Rodney Staley, coming back from injury. Their offensive line is still pretty intact. I don't know if it's definitely not as good as it was a couple years ago, but it's still serviceable and good for Lamar's abilities. We definitely saw a big decrease in the Ravens once Staley went down. So I think, and in Lamar's game, I think Lamar's going to bounce back this year after having a semi-down year since his MVP year, now that he does have his all-pro tackle back. Also not to mention Mark Andrews, Gus Edwards. Edwards is a power back. He's a great back. They also have Justice Hill, other guys that can catch out of the backfield. And then Mark Andrews is a top 5, you could argue top 3 tight end in this game. He's extraordinary. Lamar loves him. They also have pretty good tight ends under him. So I think the Ravens offense is super high powered. And to wrap it up, their defense has always been pretty good. Marcus Peters is a ball hawk. They still have him at corner. Their secondary is great. Their pass rush is good. They lost some edge rushers, but it's just like a system where their farm league and their practice squad, they're just always producing new guys at that edge rusher position. There's always a next man up. Always great guys.
Nick, do you do fantasy football?
I do.
Man, oh man, that is good to know. My wife just told me last night that she's entered again for I think like the 20th consecutive year of fantasy football. I'm gonna have her connect with you, I think, on the old updates of who to draft and everything else, man. Because it's always fun to listen to you talk about all the players because it's legit, man. I would put you up against anybody I know, and I know a lot of great football minds. If I said my buddies have a week and Nick LeBeau has 2 days, I think you would beat them at anything when it comes to football, IQ, knowledge, up research, and everything else, and probably chemistry and history and math and some of those other subjects too. Great stuff, man. Way to kick us off, man. Love it. And I will say that Jackson is my favorite player in the league. I absolutely love that guy, man.
I think he's the second most entertaining player in the league aside from Mahomes. At the QB.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that. I think they're both up there. I think Mahomes may have more talent.
Yeah.
The other way.
I agree with that.
Jackson has more talent. Mahomes is more crafty.
Jackson's more of a
do stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
I'll take Jackson in multiple sports and all those different things. True football, probably Mahomes. But Matt, it's a close debate on that one, right? All right. How about Chef Jack Attack, the Colts, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about the Colts, man. Why do you think if it's not Kansas City or Buffalo, or if it's one of those two, you'd like to see the Colts maybe get in there, or you think that they would have a good shot? Why?
Well, I like the Colts. I do worry about Carson Wentz, coming to a new team.
Yeah.
New city, new team. It's a new life, basically. He's changing everything. So I'm a little worried about that.
Indianapolis is kind of like New York, isn't it? Same type of people?
I'm not sure. I've never been there.
I'm sure your parents would say not even close.
Not even close. But it's probably different from Philly. So I think that is a factor. They have Pittman Jr. I think his name is Michael Pittman Jr.
I was saying, just to correct, I was saying because of where you are from. I know that he's from Philly. So it's kind of the same thing, right? He's going to Indianapolis, which is kind of very known as a kind-natured Midwestern place.
Yeah, of course. But Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver, young. I think this is his second year. Yeah, this is his second year coming up. Very good. I think he's actually a really good young player. They have Jack Doyle on as their tight end. I think he's a good tight end. He's getting a little bit older. T.Y. Hilton, veteran. He was very good when he was younger.
T.Y. Hilton one.
He's still pretty good. I mean, he's getting older. When you're older, you're not as good. Let's just be real. Unless you're Tom Brady.
Hold on.
Unless you're Tom Brady.
I take a little offense to that. I mean,
no,
I'm getting older. But you're right. I'm not as good. So I'm going to give you the point there.
But they in previous years have not been that good. Maybe Carson Wentz, if it works out, I think it can be contenders. I think they can be a good team. If it's not Kansas City or Buffalo, I think maybe they can be up there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like it.
Uh-huh.
And just so everybody out there knows, as I was talking to these guys, I basically said, a team that's above 500, so a 9-7 team, and someone that if they got in the playoffs could make that run. And we've seen it. We've seen it quite a few times in the last decade where a team barely makes it in. I mean, start with kind of Beastquake making that big run when we were the first sub 500 team, but there have been teams recently that have gone on the road 3 times and made it to the Super Bowl. So that was the criteria for contender versus dark horse. Dark horse had to be 8-8 or less. Contender had to be 9-7 or better. So I like those first 2 calls. So good job, Chef Jack Attack. Good stuff. Really like the T.Y. Hilton call out there. I think that's a interesting piece there. BJ, the Steelers, who re-signed.
Yep.
Talking about getting old. A dude who graduated from the same college that I went to before I got hurt and came back home. A guy by the name of Ben Roethlisberger is still the core. And how old is Big Ben? Is he like 72?
I think he's closer to 40.
Yeah, it could be. All right, talk to us about why are the Pittsburgh Steelers your contender to maybe take the place of one of those 2 teams in the AFC Championship?
Well, I always think for a football team, for it to be good, it has to have a good coaching staff, and I think they've had a good coaching staff. I think Mike Tomlin has built a culture in there, in which, coaches and players, they coexist peacefully. Not lately, a few years ago, that was not the case, but recently it has turned around, and the team's defense has gone back to where Mike Tomlin, usually has his standards set at. I expect them to be good, especially having Devin Bush coming off of an injury. Hopefully he can get back into the game, play a bit more better. Big Ben is a bit of a concern. We don't know how he's going to play at age 40. So, we would have to keep a close eye on him. He does have good receivers. I mean,
are dudes able to play into their 40s? Quarterbacks able to play into their 40s and be okay?
I mean,
guys, what do all you guys think?
Anybody
can quarterbacks play into their 40s? Let's see here. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, those guys. So it's kind of this new
Big Ben.
Yeah, well, that's what BJ is saying. That was my point there. Like all of a sudden, this whole concept of you're too old. We talked about this at the end of last year. That it used to be certain positions at certain ages you kind of ran your course. Well, now people are seeing that things are changing, right? Technology changing, everything else is changing. Like, man, it'd be dudes my age always talk about how we wish we could have grown up in this current era. How great we might have been. To where I'm like, I'm glad I grew up in the 80s, which was way before your guys' time. But I know your parents are loving it. They love the 80s. All right, hey, BJ, loved it, man. The best part I think you brought up there was Tomlin. Like I am a huge Tomlin fan. And the fact that, in, I don't know what, 60 years, I mean, Nick, you probably know the number off the top of your head. They've had 3 coaches, right? 3 coaches, Chuck Noll.
Yeah.
And then they had Bill Cowher. and then Mike Tomlin. I mean, you don't talk about like serious system that just stays consistent. And that's why to be very careful with Seahawks talk, not getting too far into it. When we jump into the people wanting Pete Carroll out of here and everything else, man, look at the Steelers as a like epic consistency. I mean, like,
yeah,
epic.
they've never fired a coach in their entire history.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Consistency is key in football.
Yeah, consistency is key. And my nephew's coach and one of the coaches that my son had last year, he played for when Cowher was in his final year, when Chuck Noll was in his final year, and Cowher took over. And I mean, talk about three different coaches, but all kind of that very hard, stiff. Like, you go play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they definitely represent their city, right? Like, I think the Seahawks represent our city. Kind of the mindset of the Seahawks and the 12's is the mindset of Seattle. You go to Philly, I think the Philadelphia Eagles kind of have that same mindset of their city. You go to the Steelers, the Steel Town, their head coaches are the mindset of that city, right? It's pretty cool. Very cool to see. All right. Sky high. The Cleveland Browns. I mean, think about it, man, for all you guys. If a couple of years ago I'd have said, hey, in a conversation in 2021, somebody's going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, they got a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. We'd all be like, what are you talking about? Because they are the opposite of what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been, right? They've been the worst thing in history forever. Going back to the dog pound, which some of you need to probably research what the old dog pound was. So Sky High, let's take a flight to Cleveland and hear your take on the Cleveland Browns and why one of them will take over for Pittsburgh or for Kansas City or Buffalo.
Well, let's be honest. I believe that Cleveland, besides Buffalo and Kansas City, is the third best team in the AFC right now, top 5 in the league. That is just my opinion right now. Cleveland is an absolutely stacked team. I think Cleveland has, for the first time in a while, you've noticed Cleveland with a chip on their shoulder. A lot of their guys that they have big egos. They have a lot. They're known for a lot of things. Odell Beckham known for making that 3-fingered catch. Myles Garrett known for swinging helmets. Baker Mayfield known for inappropriate college behavior. Jarvis Landry known for making insane catches and for being Odell Beckham's best friend. And again, this defense, this team, along with being sprinkled with that, ego maniac squad that they have, or group of people, they also have very good, solid players. Their offensive line is solid. They have an extremely great running back in Nick Chubb. The defense is solid. They picked up some very solid additions from this offseason. I think it's imperative that they take this next step forward. I think they're ready to make that leap. They're the number one dark horse candidate, in my opinion, because they have that chip on their shoulder. I think they found the right coach. I think Baker Mayfield has the chance to be a generational talent quarterback. This is.
What do you like about Baker? And I'm not arguing with you. What is it about him? Because this is definitely the make or break year for Baker.
His swagger. He's a leader. Have you seen him? His behavior may have not been the best 3 or 4 years ago, but that dude is, I can tell you, is the heart and soul of the locker room. He is a leader. He knows what he's doing up there. He's found the right coach. And last year, they had an amazing year. And honestly, in all honesty, they were screwed out of the divisional game because of the refs. When there was a hit to the helmet and an obvious pass on 4th down, and the refs did not call that, and likely it would have resulted in Cleveland scoring. They ended up losing.
One thing you're going to find with me, and this is where I like having the mini little debates. As a longtime former coach, I will never say that one play made or break the game. I totally hear what you're saying, and everybody said that. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, right? I mean, there are definitely plays that you look at and go, that was the difference in the game. But I look and go, man, if they'd have been up 21 points, that one play doesn't make a difference, right? So either play better all the way through the game. Like, don't put yourself in that type of position. And again, this is just more like the little challenge piece on fun points, because you're bringing up some outstanding points there. Baker Mayfield having the moxie, right? He's got the moxie to have that swag. He found a head coach that's allowing him to do that. He's got receivers. He's got Chubb. He's got, like, it's hard not to like Cleveland. It's just hard to like Cleveland. Like, it's just hard to think like of Cleveland as being a great team. But I do think, I agree with you, man. I think it does revolve around Baker Mayfield. I think you got to think their confidence really went sky high, right? Sky high pun. Is that a pun? Sky high when they crushed, their arch nemesis in the last part of the season last year in Pittsburgh. I mean, crushed them. And then I agree, kind of got hosed on that play. They could have kept him from going. But man, they got a taste of it, right? It's just a matter of can they, like with all teams, everybody has to stay healthy. But I really like what you said there, because I do think a coach that allows this quarterback, I'm not saying let Russ cook junk. Like I don't buy into that too much, but let their personality be their personality. That I do like. Like I love having quarterbacks that have the moxie, have the personality. So great stuff. Yeah. Anything else? Because I know you always have I hate to cut you off when you have such great stuff.
Yeah. I think again, Cleveland could easily beat Kansas City. I think they face them week 1. It's obviously possible preview of a divisional round, wild card, anything. But again, Cleveland, they're the team to beat, and you better watch them. If they stay healthy, they are borderline unbeatable with the way they play. And it's tough to come and play in Ohio because, I live 80 miles from Cleveland. The weather's pretty messed up around the lake. When you arrive at the game, it's sunny. 20 minutes later, it's raining. 20 minutes later, it's hailing. 20 minutes snowing. All of a sudden,
are you familiar with the famous phrase? You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. You got to look up that famous quote. There's a coach. Next time we talk, it's a little quiz for you. It's one of the famous lines of all time. And the reason I bring it up is because it happened against the Seattle Seahawks. There was a game when Cincinnati was facing Cleveland. And when Cleveland had played when Cincinnati, Cleveland's always been kind of known for throwing the years ago in the 80s, there was the dog pound, which is kind of like the Hawk's Nest. Dog pound, and the Cleveland Browns fans were aggressive like dogs and throw dog bones out on the field, and dog biscuits on the field. Well, but Cincinnati and Cleveland, obviously big rivals, right? Sky High, would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Big rivals. Well, the Seahawks are playing against Cincinnati, and Sam White, who was coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, snowballs start coming down on the Seahawks in this game. Sam White runs across the field, grabs the mic. So I'm kind of giving you the research. Grabs the mic, and he yells out, don't stop throwing snowballs. Da, da, da. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati. And the announcer's like, Sam better not ever go back to Cleveland or into the town of Cleveland again. Because it's kind of ripping on Cleveland. But I hear you, man. It's like the weather's changing like crazy. Ohio's nuts. Like I said, I went to Miami, Ohio for my freshman year. Man, I loved it there. A little bit different than Cleveland, though. It's just a little different take. So I can see why it'd be kind of cool for you as an Ohioan to like them. But as life and sports talk with Jake, so it's all name there. Life and sports talk with Jake, as he says, health is Cleveland's problem. I agree, but that's obviously with everybody, right? Every sports team is one injury away from thinking about the draft. Like that's always been. I remember hearing that in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. Right. Every sports team, not just football, every sports team is one injury away from thinking about the draft, meaning one of your studs goes down, that gets trouble. So good stuff there. All right. Now there's a reason, Rain, that I saved you for last. Okay. And that reason is that your pick is my pick to actually come out of the AFC and face the Seahawks for the Super Bowl. For many reasons. So I just want to see because you and I haven't even talked about it. I'm curious to see what your reasons are. I'm not going to say what my reasons are because this show's about you guys for the most part, other than me throwing my comments here and there. But share with us, why do you think, man?
Well, I mean, I picked the Titans.
The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans. That's one of the teams that ever since Julio was brought there, have kind of sky high rocketed up to one of the top contenders. Obviously, getting Julio Jones is a big help for Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has consistently got better, 11 more touchdowns than he did last year, about 1,100 or something yards more than last year. So he's significantly just improved a lot. And then we got Derrick Henry. You already know he's a stud. AJ Brown, he's gonna come back hungry this year, obviously because he got Julio and his good buddy Derrick Henry. So I think they're gonna be coming back scary. Although the defense isn't the best, I think they still will be coming back scary. They're probably one of the top contenders in the league right now.
Talking about scary, man. When you say scary, like I have a version of scary as a football coach. I would use that phrase all the time. Like, hey man, our defense has to be scary. And then there was times I'm like, do our guys even know what that really means? Like, what does that? I've heard define what scary means. What to you as a young up and coming dude that wants to play football? I know you got a brother that is a heck of an athlete, and you're aspiring to be like him in some ways. But then he probably wants you to be better than him in other ways, right? But as a football guy, if you were playing defense, what would you want me as a quarterback to look at you and go, man, that guy is part of a scary defense? What does that mean, man?
Well, obviously it means like you don't want to go up against them, like you don't want to get hit by them, you don't want to, obviously play them. I mean, I wouldn't want to run after Derrick Henry. I wouldn't want to.
But that's Tennessee's offense. Henry runs the ball scary, right? Like he's a scary runner. He runs the way I think you're defining the defense, right? Like get after it, tackle hard. I mean, geez, Derrick Henry, some of those stiff arms, man. I love watching that guy play. Love watching that guy play.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, now we broke down the definition of scary. I wouldn't want to face even as a Seahawks player, I wouldn't want to face the Titans. Although I do, but I wouldn't want to face the Titans.
Yeah, I agree, man. They got, other than breaking it all down, you've done a great job of it. I think just that all around everything, right? Head coach that's from a good pedigree, quarterback, running back, running game, defense, special teams, which I will be talking about more on future shows. Special teams, which is the reason I think the Seahawks are going to go, right? Because look at what we've already covered. We're gonna make the quick rounds on the other one because I know it's late on the East Coast there. But every team you guys brought up as contenders, you pretty much talk about coach, quarterback, running game, receivers, defense. Well, nobody talks about O-line. I would like to talk about O-line because I think it's always fun to talk about, but I get it. Nobody likes to talk about that, which is no big deal. But then you look at the Seahawks and people would say, well, Seahawks are going to go because of coach and quarterback and running backs and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Man, like a lot of people have those things. So it's really tough. And that's how, the NFL is so tight, man. It's just so tight and so close on so many levels. So with that, let's anybody have any closing thoughts on contender, and then we will go into dark horse. We'll make that a little bit more brief because again, I know Sky High is almost at his, or Chef Jack Attack's almost at his quota of yawns. Once I see him yawn 3 times, I boot him. His parents they come in and they yank him like, you're done. 3 yawns, you're in bed. Anything else on the contenders? All right, man, I like it. So to review, the contenders we had were outside of Kansas City and Buffalo, the Ravens, the Colts, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Titans. So that'll be fun to watch. We will keep track of that and visit that throughout the season to see how your contenders
One
go.
is the imposter.
One might be the imposter. Now, here's the group that I'm more excited about, though, because I think dark horses are great. Because there's always going to be 1 or 2 dark horses, right? There's always that team that midway through the season you're like, man, didn't see that coming. Didn't see that happening. Like quarterback's having a breakout year, running back's doing awesome, defense is playing better than we thought, all that type of stuff. So we're gonna loop it around. I'm gonna change up the order a little bit. I'm gonna go right to you, BJ. We'll come to you first. Okay, I'm gonna go to BJ, and yours is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
Talk to us about the Cincinnati Bengals, who have struggled, I don't know, for about 5 decades, other than a couple Super Bowl. They've had a couple of Super Bowl runs and some other things. They're just not a very lucky franchise. So I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about the Cincinnati Bengals and why you think they have a dark horse shot, a team that was, and a reminder to people watching, all these teams were 8-8 or worse, and that was the criteria to pick the dark horse. All right, BJ.
Yeah. Well, in football, really anything can happen. And so that's why, one, I love it, because this one player that no one ever talks about can become an NFL star, just like Tom Brady. And this Bengals team, they have a couple of no names that, I feel like can, compete better than some NFL starters have been in the league for a long time. Their defense doesn't need a little bit working on, but I think if they can get it together for this year and they just stay consistent and, don't allow 40 points per game, I think they can, be an all right team. I think that would be a good year for the defense. And then for the offense, I mean, Joe Burrow.
I do have to say, I loved your point. If they can just not give up 40 points a game, or they're going to have to score more than 40 points, like that's you're in a tough situation when you're telling your team as a head coach, hey guys, we got a shot as long as we can score more than 40 points and not let our other teams that we're facing score 40 points. Man, that's a really dark horse.
I mean, you look at it, this is going to be a really tough year if they're gonna have a chance at the playoffs and
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Well, that's what a
They're
dark
gonna have
horse
to
is.
compete
Yeah.
for every. They're gonna have to
Absolutely.
compete for everything they
Yeah.
want to happen. And
So what would you say is
that's
the number one thing as you've been going through here? What is the thing that they must do, or a player that must step up for them to even have a chance in week? And remember, the season goes 17 games. For them to get to like week 10 and have their fan base go, man, 7 games to go. Like we're 5-5 or we're 4-6. Like we got a shot at a wild card. What one thing? And I'm going to be asking all you guys that. What is the one thing they must do? Consistency where?
If they can get that.
Consistency where? Defense, quarterback, running game, stopping the run.
All
Like, give me a
around.
specific
I think
thing. BJ, that's too easy, man.
Fine.
I could have 1,000 people on this show say they need to get better at everything. I want you to tell me one specific area. Like what's an area that every team has to do?
Happen.
What's an area of the game that everybody, and I'm not saying I have an answer. You tell me. If there was one area that every team you'd say, hey, quarterback has to be consistent, running back has to be consistent, the defense has to be consistent. Look at the Seahawks last year. Quarterback consistent for 8 games, not consistent for 8 games. Defense not consistent for 8 games, consistent for 8 games. And it caused this wish-wash, right? So that's what I'm asking. Like, I'm forcing you to be more specific on, give me one thing.
I think if they can have consistent pressure at the defensive line, I think
love it.
That can really help them this year.
That's an answer, man. That's a great answer. Okay, so that's what we're going to pay attention to. We're going to see if they can be consistent with their pressure. Man, I don't think you could have come up with a better answer than that. That's a great job, BJ. Like I said, the guy who's just super amped to be here, but I'm going to crush you with
I think that's what the Bucs did last year. They had consistent pressure and they won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. That's the recipe. 3.14, which is I think it's pi or something like that, times pressure equals Super Bowl wins. Sky High Aviation. I know you have a flight to catch here pretty soon. So, man, how weird is it to say that a dark horse is the New England Patriots, who, without getting into too much news, but I know you have to talk about it because they obviously made a decision on their quarterback. So that's going to make a difference. So maybe your choice of the Patriots is based on that. So, but I don't want to steal any more of your thunder. So go.
It isn't based on it, but I would have preferred had Mac Jones started. I think he fits the system better. But if there's anybody, it was the same thing that said last year. If there's anybody who could put this team together, and if there's anything that can push them to the playoffs, it's their coach, Bill Belichick. He's turned a lot of something. He's turned a lot of nothing into something. Bill Belichick is the X factor. He's the greatest coach to ever coach any sport, past Pat Riley, past Greg Popovich, past all those dudes in the NBA and all those managers out that coach soccer and all that. Past Nick Saban. Bill Belichick is the best of all time.
Did you say not past Nick Saban?
No, past Nick Saban.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is the best of all time. And if there's anything that the best of all time can do is to make others around him better and greater, no matter how he does it, no matter which way he does it. And I think New England is able to sneak in there, whether it's a 7 seed, whether it's a 5 or 6 seed, whether it's a division winner.
Yeah,
I have faith.
Playoffs. As long as they
just get to the playoffs. As long as they get to the playoffs, they are dangerous. Playoff Bill does not mess around. He loves deflating those balls, and he loves cheating. And he loves getting to the Super Bowl and picking up people at the 1 yard line.
Sky. Enough with the cheating stuff. Like blah blah blah.
Yeah, I thought you've been like, yeah, he does cheat.
No, man. I am the biggest Bill Belichick fan out there because if he had just had that happen, right? If the 2 years they won the Super Bowl were the 2 years of the cheating or whatever, okay, that's one thing. But the dude is a clear genius when it comes to, if you're going to have 2 weeks of preparation, why do they win most of the time in Super Bowls? Because they have 2 weeks of preparation. I get it. They had Tom Brady, but they've done it with a lot of average Joe dudes playing all the other positions. Yes, it helps to have one of the greatest of all time as a quarterback. But the guy is a preparation genius. He got it from his dad, who was a coach, and he got to coach with Naval Academy or I think Army, one of those 2 military institutions. So, yeah, I think all things even, it's hard for him to not lose.
Can't win without Tom Brady. Can't win without Tom Brady. Sorry. Cannot win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. I don't. I love with somebody
Yeah.
else, maybe with another great player, sure, but that just what happened with the last previous season.
Then how did
Well,
you
the Patriots got significantly
No, I
better.
don't want to
over
get.
the
Hey guys,
offseason.
I want to make sure everybody gets in. I don't want to get into too much debate. We will
They
get
had
to
the
that
best
spot.
offseason.
But here's the deal:
of any other team.
if Chef, so I'm going to settle this right here for this, just for tonight. No comment from you guys. When the New England Patriots win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, which I think they will, when they do, Sky High or Chef Jack Attack, you have to go and kiss Aaron Rodgers' feet. Okay, B, who did I say was going to be next? It is going to be Rain. Rain coming up next. Chef Jack Attack muted himself because he wants so bad. Like, Coach Marsh, I hate Aaron Rodgers. Oh, I hate him. I hate him so much. Rain, the Miami Dolphins. Fascinating choice. Dark horse.
Yeah,
Talk
so
to
obviously the Dolphins were 10-6 last year. Didn't make the playoffs because of the Bills and Chiefs and the whole AFC North pretty much. But I think they have a serious dark horse team. They just re-signed Xavier Howard. They picked up Jalen Waddle in the draft. Obviously, Tua has to really break out for this team to make the playoffs and go pretty deep. I honestly think they could go pretty deep, but obviously with the Chiefs and the Bills, the Titans, all those other really high contenders.
And before you go on, I want to clear up that I had said 8-8 for everybody, but I had given Rain permission to use the Dolphins because I think there's so many great teams out there that nobody really considers the Dolphins even at 10-6. Like I never hear them come up in conversations with my own buddies. So I actually agree that they are a dark horse even as a 10-6 returning team. So I just want to clear that up with the rest of you guys why I allowed Rain to have the Dolphins in here. So all right, keep going, Rain. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. So then they also picked up our former linebacker Shaquem Griffin. Or I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I am. But you know what I mean. But I mean, they just got a great team overall. And like I said, if Tua doesn't shine, then this team he needs to move on. Then you find another quarterback because if he doesn't make anything happen, then he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the Dolphins are one of the dark horse teams. Obviously, if they wanted to win the division, they would have to beat the Bills, which is I wouldn't think that's not easy. And then obviously, Sky High brought up some points about the Patriots. So if they come back hot, then it's going to be a fight in the AFC East. I don't know about the Jets. They may be that Patriots team 7-9, but I think the Dolphins are definitely a dark horse team.
Yeah, I think it's a great call on your part, man. And that's a lot of great knowledge you just brought up right there. Loved it. So let's go to who am I missing? Chef Jack Attack?
Yep.
Right? Yeah,
Yep.
The Chargers. Hit us. And we're going to wrap up here by 6:30. So we got about 12 minutes left. We're going to be done by 6:30, 9:30 on the East Coast. Really appreciate your parents allowing you to stay up. I know for you, Chef Jack Attack, like 7:30 is your bedtime over there on the East Coast, and Rain like 7:45-ish, like
Yeah. So Chargers, Justin Herbert, fantastic, won Rookie of the Year. He's great. Justin Herbert's great. He's young. This is his second year. He's gonna be great. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I think he's gonna do great. Keenan Allen, veteran wide receiver, good wide receiver. They have Jared Cook as their tight end. Austin Eckler as their running back. And they have a fantastic defensive player in Joey Bosa. He is so good. That guy, Joey Bosa, is a boss. Okay, he is so good. Very powerful. His brother's Nick Bosa, who's on the 49ers. So I think the Chargers can be a good team. I'm not saying that they're going to be a contender or anything. It's going to take them a few more years, I believe. But I do believe that they will be a decent team, 10-7, maybe 11-6 kind of team. I'll go 10-7 around there because they have a great quarterback. And they have a pretty good team. Joey Bosa is probably the best player on this team, maybe. Keenan Allen, as I said, pretty good. So I think this team has a chance of being a pretty good team. That is my team right there.
Yeah, and they only have to be pretty good, and pretty good can actually get you places. So no doubt about it. Great stuff right there. All right, let's go to wrap up. Nick LeBeau. And Nick LeBeau, you have The Raiders, man.
I do.
I love the Raiders. You know me, man. I was hoping we'd actually. I wasn't saying like get rid of our current quarterback, but man, I've said it many times. If we were going to pick up a quarterback, Derek Carr would be the guy that I would want, man. I'm a huge Derek Carr fan. Love how he's growing as a quarterback. And I'm okay saying that right now because I know you got 87 other points you're going to bring up, so I'm not worried about stealing your thunder on this. All right, so roll with it.
Yep, Carr.
The Raiders. Oh, sorry, my bad. Go for it, Nick LeBeau. Hit it.
All right. So, yeah, the Raiders, man. This is probably one of the most underrated teams in the NFL by far. Great head coach in John Gruden. Derek Carr's a great quarterback. I like him. Super underrated guy. And then I think they have one of the most overhated players on their team, and that's Josh Jacobs. Like Josh Jacobs, who reminds me a lot of Chris Carson. They are very similar backs. He's a good back, and he gets a lot of hate for kind of unnecessary reasons. I think he'll have a bounce back year this year after having a semi-down year. They brought in Kenyon Drake, who's a veteran running back. He's really good out of the backfield, catching, which is going to be huge for them. They also have another position group that's one of the most underrated in the league. I mean, this entire team's underrated, but their wide receivers, no one talks about their wide receivers. Henry Ruggs is a speedster. He's a deep threat. He can do so much on this team. I think he's going to have a breakout second year. And then people keep forgetting Hunter Renfrow. He's a little white guy from Clemson. Great slot receiver. I think a really good slot receiver in this league. He's going to have a breakout year. Bryan Edwards is here. Good receiver. Derek Carr's favorite target, Darren Waller, is only going to get better. Phenomenal tight end. Lost a lot of pieces on the offensive line, but they got good depth under there. I was talking about the Ravens and their pass rush. Well, the Raiders, where they can really produce players, it's their offensive line. They've gone through so many changes in the last years just since Gruden's gotten here, and all the guys they've brought in have played well. I think Carr will still have a good line. And then this is probably their youngest unit. It's their defense in general. Brought in 2 good veterans from free agency in Yannick Ngakoue, who was a top edge rusher in his Jacksonville days. A lot of trade rumors, a couple last season at the beginning of the year of him potentially coming to Seattle, signed with them this offseason. Good edge rusher. They have a lot of underrated edge rushers. Max Crosby, Cleveland Farrell, who was the former, I think, 5th overall pick. I think he's going to finally shine and prove his worth. Oh, I forgot a guy. They also brought in a former Seahawk defensive tackle, Quentin Jefferson. I loved him. I was mad that we let him go. Underrated player. He's going to do good. Good inside linebackers, Corey Littleton, Nicholas Morrow, Casey Hayward, who they brought in, another veteran. He was with the Chargers, who Jack was bringing up not long ago. So, yeah, this team's good. They're young, but I think they're going to emerge this year and really make a push. I think they will get a wild card, and I think they'll challenge the Chiefs. One last point I have is the Raiders have a schedule where, and it hasn't necessarily been like this.
Nick LeBeau with the point of the night. I've been waiting for somebody to say something about schedule. There it is.
They have a schedule where I believe they have a good, if not great, chance at winning all of their games. They have a shot at winning every single one of their games. There's not necessarily a game where I don't see them contending. And yes, they play the Chiefs 2 times a year, but last year they beat the Chiefs. I think they'll split with the Chiefs.
So you see a very Seattle Seahawks-like team.
I do.
The Seahawks are always in the game. Like you never look at a game ever in the last 10 years where you're like, oh, they're just going to get crushed. Like
I agree.
It's must-watch TV.
They are.
Great point, man.
Yep. West Coast offense, Carr, Gruden.
Yep. But there it is. That's the main
duo. That's
John
the duo.
Gruden, man. I mean, how do you not like Chucky? Like, I love John Gruden.
Totally.
And it's kind of perfect that you said that because it'll segue into the final piece that I wanted to connect on with all you guys, which is what is the major thing that is a difference from last year to this year in the NFL? Who can
extra game.
Yeah, okay. I said that part, but I think there's actually something bigger.
The chop block rule.
That's
fans.
The fans.
Yep.
The fans.
Oh
It's not the different jersey numbers. It's not the extra games. It's the fact that the fans are back, and when we watch the games, they're piping in sound and doing that other stuff. But a lot of players have talked about how it just felt like a glorified practice. So like I can't even look at even the Seahawks season last year and losing a home game in the playoffs. Like you can't count that because I just don't think that the Rams would have played as well in a playoff game. So let's put that aside. And I'm bringing this up on Nick's point because the Las Vegas Raiders, which is still kind of weird to say, I mean, that stadium is the Death Star, as they call it, the nickname, right? I mean, it's the coolest stadium ever, or one of them for sure.
It looks like a Roomba.
In terms of newness. Now, there are some very cool, I feel like, if I can go watch a Yankee game in Yankee Stadium, I'd go watch that over going to a Raiders game in the new stadium. But in terms of just the newness and the coolness and all that other stuff, crazy places. So, looking at your guys' choices of contender and dark horses, is there any place that you think, like the fan base, AFC only, the fan base is the difference? The fan base alone, the fan base coming back, it will be the difference between a team making the AFC Championship game or not. And maybe it's Kansas City because they obviously have a great fan base. The Buffalo Bills, what's their nickname? They have those fans.
Bills Mafia.
The Bills Mafia. Yeah, they got the Bills Mafia. We got the 12's over here. But is there anything other, like any team on the AFC?
I feel like
that you can defend. Maybe one of your teams you can defend.
Honestly, like, my brother's probably watching this. He's a big Steelers fan. So is my civics teacher. I learned that a couple days ago. But
hey, how about that? Get to know your teachers. It's a good thing to do.
But I feel like the Steelers have one of the most just cockiest, like, oh, we're about to do this because I know we're about to do this. Like, one of those teams ever. Like, most of the fans are just old. They've been with him since he got drafted.
Rain, what age is old? What age is old? What age is old to you? Just so I know.
99.
Probably like mid-30s.
Coach Marsh.
There must be a hurricane going through Virginia because we can't hear rain anymore. There seems to be a can't hear him. All of a sudden, I can't hear him at
oh my God.
What do you say? 33, 35?
35.
Jeez. Well, then if that's it, then what's 49? Like ancient? No, go ahead, Rain. I agree. So Steelers. Okay, so that's one quick point. So I agree. That's one. Because I'm thinking of three teams for me that I would go, man, with the fans coming back, like the Steelers they're so rabid. Like as a visiting team, you just don't want to go in there, whether it's they're cocky, they're loud, they're into it, they're knowledgeable. Like the 12's aren't. The 12's I don't think are cocky. I think we at times are kind of know-it-alls. Like we act like
they're white.
We're kind of like a snobbish group of fans. I wish the 12's were more like New York, Boston, and Philly.
Yeah.
I think we're too easy on our guys. We're too easy on things. And then when things go bad, we are sour grapes and we want to leave and not show up to things. Yes, we
know New Yorkers are like,
but I think if the Seahawks went 4-12, 4-13, a couple years in a row, I think the fans would slowly start to dissipate. Philly, New York, Boston, Pittsburgh, those teams, those people are going to those games, rain, snow, whatever. It doesn't matter what the record is. Like that is what they do because there's nothing else to do in a couple of those places. But that's what they do. So Pittsburgh, great call. One other team, maybe BJ.
Raiders. I mean, their fans dress up super.
Bro, I thought you were gonna say the Texans, bro. The Texans.
No, I like it. This is the last comment. So the Raiders, I agree, man. The Raiders. It'll be interesting to see with them now going to Las Vegas because
I think we'll see
for sure.
Go ahead, Nick. What were you gonna say?
I think we'll see a lot of the Raider Nation back in Oakland. I think we'll see them commuting, making the long drive. Whether it's a plane ticket, I think we'll see a lot of them show up at these games.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I think it's a great point. I remember when the Seahawks first opened up at the time, it was Seahawks Stadium, then it became Quest Field, and then it's all the changes that have happened. But like when Green Bay would come into town, like half of the lower level was Green Bay Packers because people would sell the tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could sell for twice the amount because everybody wanted to go there. But Seahawks, the Rams, there's like 3 or 4 teams that when we played them, that would happen. I see in Las Vegas, people going to the city of Las Vegas and, oh, by the way, choosing the weekend that their team goes. So if Buffalo's playing the Raiders, hey, I'll just schedule my vacation to Las Vegas on the same weekend that the Buffalo Bills are playing in Las Vegas. And now you get a bunch of Buffalo people in Las Vegas. And then the next week you get a bunch of Kansas City people in Las Vegas. So it is gonna be interesting if the Oakland, LA people take over and then take over Vegas, or if it's gonna be more visitors because it's like a touristy attraction. But I think the fan thing is going to be a big deal. I did find it kind of odd with our fans during the I get there was preseason, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I'm hoping that our first home game.
Yeah. Can I say something, Coach Marsh?
Yeah. Considering you had to leave like 25 minutes ago, sure.
I will say preseason actually was good outing.
I'm not talking about the games. I'm talking about just the fans.
Yeah, the fans. It was a good. The first game was a little bit less, and then the last game it was because of the better weather. That was about 90% full. Now there was one thing that you want to bring up. Talk about Packers fans showing up in the Seahawks stands. There's always this one team whenever we go and play them that we always have just fans, a large amount of fans in the stadium, and that's Arizona.
That we have a large amount of fans. But they bring a large amount of fans.
Arizona, our fans always travel well to Arizona. If you haven't noticed, it's always been. Last year wasn't really
half of Seattle moves to Arizona. I mean, even my own parents are going down there to look at a place to live so they can come back and forth. It's a snowbird from Seattle. It's a great place to go and hang out when it's cold and drizzly down here, and then you come back up. So I agree. I agree. Arizona is a Seattle place, but there's only a few places that populate like that. Like, I mean, you think the Dallas Cowboys allow anybody to come into their stadium? You think Philly allows a big mob of people to come in?
Yeah, Dallas allowed the Texans fans in 2014. They literally took over that stadium.
2014.
You can search it up.
I can understand. I can understand two Houston teams.
Yeah,
I can see two Houston teams.
And the 49ers fans.
Yeah, I can understand
the Bills Mafia.
So I think that is going to be fun because I think Bills Mafia. Yeah, I think that is a group that not only at home is going to be crazy, like they're going to amp up. But I think they will be a team that goes on the road. Like if Buffalo is playing Seattle, they are going to find ways to scoop up those tickets and make sure that the 12's can't be that loud. But then what's great about it is that Mrs. Allen, who I think is still running the team, she'll just turn up the microphone of the speakers underneath the half roof and just make it loud again. So, all right, guys. Hey, man, great first show coming back. Ton of fun. I'm going to give you just a really brief, keep it really brief, just kind of a final closing anything. So let's go to Chef Jack Attack.
Okay, well, that was
until we see you again. What do you got going? Until we see you again.
Channel Chef Jack Attack. Please make sure to go like and subscribe. That means a lot. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers soon.
Man,
I have Instagram, that TikTok, those sort of stuff. Thank you, Coach, for having me on.
Yeah, glad to have you back.
Glad doing the show. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, Nick LeBeau.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. It was a great show. Sky High, Rain, BJ, Chef, Coach Marsh. Great to be back after a long off season. My off season with my channel will continue for another week, but I will have a video coming out prior to the game against the Colts, which will be a dub. So definitely expect that at my channel, Seattle Sports Talk. Would really appreciate it if you checked it out.
Love it. And I know you guys can't see it from my end or as a kind of through the parent's eyes. And this is for all of you as I DJ next, I'll bring him on. It's amazing what 3 to 4 months does to people your age in terms of just the maturity level, how I see you guys. I mean, where you guys were even 3 or 4 months ago when we last did the show, all of you guys tonight seem like you're 3 or 4 years older than you did on our last show that was just 3 or 4 months ago. And it's because you're entering that phase of life where you just kind of mature and you seem older and your voices get deeper. And like I joke with you, there's going to be a few of you that your voice is going to crack a little bit this fall. Like, yeah, so BJ, what do you got going in the next week or so? Are you gonna leave that room at all, or do you just kind of stay camped in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this room.
Work in the fax machine. Work in the fax machine.
But I'm really excited to be back. It was fun tonight. Fun to see where everyone is, thinking of the NFL and stuff like that.
Hey, love having you back, man. Love having you back. No doubt about it.
For sure.
Sky High Aviation.
Oh yeah, it's my turn. Wow. I'm gonna upload some.
Are you like multitasking like 15 different shows at the same time? Right?
No. I was just looking at pictures of Cowboys fans getting their own home stadium ransacked.
Give it to us the next week or so before we connect. And again, our show's gonna be bouncing around because I got other shows that are gonna be coming in and stuff now that I've kicked this off. So people just have to kind of stay tuned. It will be coming on randomly, and some things will be scheduled. So that's the fun part of it. But over the next week or so, what do you have going on?
Nothing.
And it doesn't have to be channel wise; it could be life.
I'm just gonna be sure to check out my channel. Possibly going to do the Seahawks versus Colts game week 1. Possibly, don't know yet. But if I do, I'm probably gonna get some NorbCam stuff. Maybe tell Nick LeBeau, take this footage and use it in your YouTube channel, Sky High Cam. I start school next Tuesday, and I had orientation today. So,
oh man,
yeah.
How many guys are in school already? I know BJ's in school. Oh man, unreal. But and you're actually in school, right?
Yeah.
Man.
I'm gonna be taking last because there's no way we're lasting this whole year. There's no way.
You're just not because you're just gonna like.
Nah, COVID cases are just skyrocketing. It's insane.
I'm gonna be out of school.
We'll save that for the we'll save that for one of the other shows, one of my other parts of the channel.
COVID edition.
Oh, look, I see people jumping on. I see Brandon Rogers jumping on here, and who else I see coming on? Elena Dahl's jumping on here, and all that stuff. Oh, did I say something that would jinx us? Yeah, because I'm very superstitious. One thing you guys will find out about me, man, I'm like
I think Nick has
the most superstitious guy around. Even my family knows there's like things that they just know not to do because I big time like yep, we lost that game because I sat this way instead of this way during
don't even go there,
dudes, man.
I have a luck charm. I have to set up a luck charm every single game. I put a blanket down, like put some stuffed animals and stuff, and it's like a voodoo thing. It's just like hey, this win us our game, and I'm like, we started 5-0. Oh my gosh, this is gonna work.
Yeah, I don't see it. Well, how about I'll fix the bad on that. I'll say there is no way we're going 17-0, and there is no way we're going to the Super Bowl. For anybody who thinks that I have that type of power.
Seahawks, Raiders, and Ravens are gonna suck.
Rain. Finish this off. And I know over the next week it's watching the Weather Channel, listening to the Weather Channel, stepping outside and seeing what the weather's like. But what do you got coming up other than that, man?
Not much or nothing. I mean, my channel got taken down on YouTube, but I'm on my other one, so it's
your channel got taken down. Were you putting stuff like you weren't supposed to be putting on there? Were you copyrighting stuff?
It was what Nick does. It was
Coach Marsh, why are you acting like that?
You know what? I will have a separate. I'll bring you on for my one-on-one interviews, and we'll talk about it. We'll get into when we do the deep discussion on the Coach for Life network. I'm gonna bring you on. We're gonna talk life.
I was banned.
Yeah, there's not much nothing. Just subscribe.
Oh no, I see it's heavy. I can tell it's heavy on your heart, man.
Oh boy,
you can tell it's eating you a little bit.
He's setting you up.
Hey man, seriously, you guys have been love it. I love having you guys back on. I know you thought that maybe we were just done for good and everything else, but fun stuff taking place, and it's just so nice finally for myself to just be kind of getting settled in by our next show, which for all I know could be tomorrow. We'll continue to get things rocking and rolling. But I think for the first show back, hey man, what do you know? Audio worked, video worked, people were commenting. So we're already, the franchise is rocking and rolling. So with that, I'm not going to hit any catchphrases or any of that stuff right now. I just want to get this first one out of the way. Rishi showed up at the very last second, just as I'm about to say goodbye. And Rishi did I think here's my favorite teams, and then he just chose everybody. I think it looks like.
Okay.
All right, guys, have a fantastic night. Stay safe.
You have an outro?
I'll talk to you really soon. Nope. Today it's all about just saying take care. Goodbye. Talk to you later.